It was a dark and stormy night 17 years ago on the 12th of August 2008 when I was but a mere 4 years old when I first discovered who, or rather what, Indiana Jones was. Now, I was probably, most definitely, too young to fully understand what I was seeing on the screen at the time, but of two things I could be absolutely certain of from the first time I ever laid my eyes on that infamous man with his hat and whip. He looked badass, and he had the same surname as me. After that day, a little inside joke began to bloom as I started kindergarten, and my teachers would toy with the idea that my name was a fusion of Jackie Chan and Indiana Jones. I don't remember if this is something that I came up with, or them, or even my parents, but what I do remember is that I felt like $1 million. I mean, who wouldn't? Right? Because any kid would be happy to be compared to the like of a badass martial artist and a stuntman and a iconic, albeit fictional, archaeologist and swaggery parkourist. Simpler times it was back then. Take me back to being 4 years old when the only thing that you needed to earn you social credits among your peers was telling them that you were the long-lost, fourth removed cousin of Indiana Jones. It's funny that I should say that actually, considering for Christmas this year, last year now I guess, my mum bought me a DNA test. Sounds a little bit kind of like an absurd Christmas gift. Oh god. Now the more I think about it, the worse it gets. My mom is my maternal parent. Make no mistake, we just always talked here and there about the general interest of the novelty of getting a DNA test, just for funsies. So she finally ripped the band-aid off and got me one, which Ancestry DNA is currently processing at the moment. So hey, perhaps I should make a video out of that when they finally, after 21 years, finally prove that I am, in fact, related to Indiana Jones. Anyway, considering how deeply ingrained this was in my teeny tiny 4-year-old self's identity that I crafted, I ran with it. And one fateful day when I went to sit down and scribble some ink blots onto a piece of paper in kindergarten for art class at 11 a.m. on a sunny morning, I was struck with a genius idea. An idea that would change the trajectory of my life forever. I said, and I repeat these words as they were said that very fateful morning, quote, "Miss Applewhite, I appreciate the sandpit archaeologist exploration experience that you set up for me the other day when I came to kindergarten that morning and showed you the shoddily drawn map that I had created the other day of a secret, unbeknownst treasure. After being appointed as your trustworthy treasure hunter to find Indiana Jones's long-lost New Zealand riches and, getting to bask in the glory of triumph that ensued after I successfully obtained it after digging around in the sandpit for 3 hours. Miss Applewhite, I will, however, also quickly mention during my expedition that I did also encounter some unheralded objects out in the field, namely being what suspiciously looked like some other kids' turds that they had poorly attempted to cover up like a cat in a litter box. My desire to pursue my archaeologist fate has only strengthened more so, and I feel like you have inspired me to take the only next logical step forward, which is to contact Indiana Jones himself. So the big day arrives. All the training, the sacrifices, the doubts, the pain, the blood, sweat, and tears. It was all for this fateful day. I sat down at the single big-ass boxy Apple PC we had at the kindy. The ones that weighed like 20 kgs and were always this musty off-white color. And after doing a little research on the matter, I put pen to paper and started writing. Dear Indiana Jones, I have drawn a picture for you. There is a purple diamond, a gold key, a purple spider to catch other spiders, a sword, a belt, a yellow gold crystal heart, a whip, and a hat. I've forgotten to draw a crystal skull. Just wondering where that was. But I will do that soon. There we go. I've drawn a crystal skull. Live reporting. Straight to the point. I kind of respect it. We went on our own treasure hunt at our kindergarten, New Zealand. We would love for you to visit us in New Zealand so that you can take us to America and go on a treasure hunt and then send us quickly back. My bedtime curfew is strictly at 5 p.m. I even have the same surname as you, Indy. Jones. From Jacky Jones in New Zealand. Beautiful. This is an icon of this is a treasure itself of its time. Now, as one can obviously tell by my incredible handwriting and ability to articulate my thoughts, it was not me who wrote the letter, but considering I was 4, but my lovely, very sweet kindergarten teacher. I remember being sat there next to the brick-ass PC as I spoke aloud what I wanted to tell my beloved idol, and she sat there and very diligently wrote it all down and probably made it sound a little bit better too. And honestly, kudos to her. She was all you could ever want from a kindergarten teacher and more. I cannot stress that enough. Like, I'm literally, this could not have happened without her, clearly. Setting up a literal treasure hunt in the sandpit after I showed her my beautiful treasure map drawing that I had drawn at home the prior day, which I have here too, do not fear. It's quite fridge worthy in my opinion. You can clearly tell there's the X, which marks a spot. If you can't understand this, then I'm afraid you're probably a f***ing idiot. But yeah, just to, I guess, acknowledge my newfound love for Indiana Jones and not only enable, but like enrich that experience for me, man, it's just enough to make a grown woman cry. You may have also noticed, if you happen to be a hardcore Indiana Jones fan, that I was also a little bit of a fraud, considering I had no idea what I was talking about. See, I consulted Google, and apparently there was no purple diamond in the franchise, but there was the peacock's eye, to give myself credit, nor was there a purple spider, not sure what the deal is with all this purple, nor yellow golden crystal heart. But then again, I'll give my 4-year self the benefit of the doubt yet again. Just assume that maybe the topic of the idol was, I don't know, a little bit too complicated for my small brain. Now, after writing this letter, Miss Apple Wyburn suggested I drew a picture for Indiana Jones 2, as you may have noticed I mentioned as well. And oh man, did she not realize how this very innocent suggestion would change everything forever. If my beautifully worded letter did not pull on the heartstrings enough, it must have certainly been my incredible artistry at such a young age that brought a tear to Indiana Jones's eye and compelled him to write back to me. Now, I will warn you, as I lift this up to show you, that once you lay eyes on this thing, you will just never be able to feel the same profusion of emotions toward any work of art that you'll ever see again. It's just one of those things like opening Pandora's box. You'll just never be the same. Oh, you're still here? Very well then, feast your eyes upon the greatest rendition of Indiana Jones memorabilia you've ever seen.
Oh yeah!
Yeah, that is, wow, that is powerful. Now, if you just so happen to be a little blind, then I will point out to you what each of the items are here, being the whip, clearly, the hat, that's also quite an obvious one, the purple spider, you can tell by his voluptuous curves and his bajillion legs, God, what else? Purple diamond. I'm gonna assume that one's a purple diamond. You know, as I say, diamonds come in many shapes and forms, so no judgment, please. A gold key. Oh, well, that one's obvious. A sword. You can see the carefully carved handle there, and then the beautifully smithed blade. A belt. You can see there the buckle in the middle. A yellow gold crystal heart. I do believe that is the heart. I don't know. It has a face on it though. Like that is fully like the skull. Did I say that I had a skull? Oh yeah, what? I just drew the skull there. That is the skull.
Huh?
Wait, what the f? Where? I'm so confused now. Purple diamond, I'm gonna assume it's that. Gold key. Yeah. Spider, yeah. Sword. Yeah. Belt. Yep. Crystal heart. Where's the crystal heart? Anyway, that doesn't matter. Perhaps it was just an artistic choice. In fact, perhaps the gold heart always just like I also do assume that maybe I do assume that the original drawing that I sent was in colored crayons or something, because, you know, to make a 4-year-old draw in a single black pen would be sick. I do have my suspicions that the heart was somewhere here, but I drew it in a yellow crayon that was not captured in the rescannings of the original work. which is truly a shame, but the letter was written, the drawings are completed. I don't exactly recall anymore how we found Indiana Jones's P.O. box. Jesus, Indiana Jones. Harrison, God, to be exact, sorry to break the immersion, but I'm pretty sure that you and I all know that we are referring to Harrison Ford here. It's just starting to get to the point where I'm starting to believe that Indiana Jones is in fact a real person. But this was sent to Harrison Ford, and by the way, I literally just searched up Harrison Ford's P.O. box, and the address is indeed online. It's still up on kind of what looks exactly like the same website we probably used back in like 2008, which is kind of crazy. So there's your answer as to how I sent these letters to Harrison Ford. And yet a week went by and nothing. 2 weeks, nothing. A month, nothing. The months just kind of started to roll by, and I think by around like the third month, I had probably already forgotten all about the ordeal, as you would as a creative child with a head full of ideas. And so when a year had gone by and I had heard nothing by that point, akin to writing a letter to Santa, and yet one day, my mum received a letter in the mail. Behold. Feast your eyes upon this orange letter that I'm not actually holding in real life, sadly, because my mum still has it and she's all the way in Sydney, Australia right now, and I'm here in Toronto, Canada. It was very tempting to just ask her to send me the letter and all, but I mean, it would have taken way too long to arrive here in time for when I wanted to film this, and B, I think we're both equally paranoid about like, I don't know, just losing in the mail or something, considering how precious it is to us. So I'll just show it to you here in post edit. And if you want to be one of those little skeptical bastards, I suppose I can also probably insert a clip of me holding it originally in a video I actually made on this a few years ago on my channel, which has long been archived from the public's eyes, but that would serve as proof that I indeed had it. But yeah, there it is, a letter to my childhood home address in New Zealand with my name plastered on it. And inside were 2 photos of the man himself. One as the iconic Indiana Jones in his prime, and the other, the man stripped down himself. I think it kind of goes without saying that obviously it wasn't Harrison Ford who sent me these signed photos. It would have been his PR team. But for a then 6-year-old Jacky, to say I was ecstatic would have been an understatement. I felt on top of the world. I felt seen. And honestly, just the thought of someone on Harrison Ford's PR team cracking open a letter from a kindergarten somewhere in a suburban bush in New Zealand and seeing my beautiful drawings on my aforementioned treasure hunt and then being sent quickly back it's just wholesome, man. It's just wholesome. And hey, my parents are thrilled about the photos too. I mean, like, what Gen X adult would not be happy to receive like signed photos of Harrison Ford, dude? Like, they probably had more memories with him on TV than I ever did. In hindsight, I really feel like I should have returned back to my kindergarten the very next day with a new proposition to write a letter to Jackie Chan. Like, can you imagine if I received some kind of like memorabilia from both Harrison Ford and Jackie Chan when I was like, still didn't know basic timetables? It would have been like completing a ritual. It would have been like a cycle, fully rounded, right? The person that I could have grown into now from that, it would have been incredible. Frankly, it would have been a sight to behold. Sadly, I did not, though. It seems like one letter was enough. However, I mean, like, who's to say I couldn't just do it now? He's still alive. I still have time, technically. And hey, you know, they always say you're never too old. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this little story time. It's always a pleasure to tell, and if you enjoyed, let me know in the comments. It's always my favorite part of doing this, and if you want more story times, let me know. I don't know if that genre of YouTube has kind of dwindled and died since Tana put that thing, you know where, but I personally really enjoy them, and I'm sure I could probably rattle my brain for some more stories if that is something that you'd like. Make sure to subscribe. I usually I do despise asking, but I've decided moving into 2021, I'm taking up e-begging, because I'm sick of being humble. That's the only way you will actually listen. To subscribe, because I'm trying to overtake Mr. Beast, and that seems like the only way to do it. Anyway, yeah, that is about it. I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.